Hi everybody, welcome to the World Cup Lot, the Rugby League World Cup 2021 podcast, kindly sponsored by ACD&B, who are a branding creative design agency from Farsley, Leeds. They create standout brands. So if any companies, businesses out there need a brand refresh, just get in touch with ACD&B. I think Derek Beaumont should have gone to ACD&B, to be honest, for a bit of help with that disgraceful Lee Leopards logo. Anyway, thanks for joining us. We are part of the Lot Pod. Has anyone listened to this, watching this? I'm going to assume you are aware of that. And joining me tonight is two Lot Pod regulars, two members of the Lot squad. It is Laurie and Mark. How are you, gents?
Good evening. All good, thank you.
There's no Statman Reese today. He went to watch... Who did he go to watch, Laurie? The Jaguars?
Jacksonville Jaguars versus Denver Broncos at Wembley.
At Wembley in the NFL. Yeah. So there's no Statman Reese. I hope you enjoy it, Reese. You're on a big day out at Wembley. He'll be back next Sunday, and he's going to kind of give us a little bit of like how could rugby league tap into that kind of holding an event type, thing. So yeah, a bit of a scouting report from the NFL. I've spoken to Laurie over the last 2 or 3 weeks. Mark, are you enjoying your Rhinos off-season?
Yeah, there's plenty to get his teeth into. We've got a World Cup, Women's World Cup, the Wheelchair World Cup. I believe the PDRL England team are kicking off their final line as we speak against...
Now, correct.
Yeah. Is it New Zealand they're playing, guys?
Yes.
Yes, so good luck to them. Rugby League is the word. BBC put a great documentary together called Women of Steel.
They did.
Absolutely brilliant. Behind the scenes,
incredible
for England and their World Cup hopes. Going behind the scenes, it was St Helens, at York, at Leeds. It's just really good to see the rugby league sport as a whole getting plenty of exposure. It's a sport we all love, and showing that it is all-inclusive, and so it should be. There's a good one on the Betfred Super League website as well for Rhinos fans. You can see the Leeds Rhinos women on there, some good behind-the-scenes footage.
Yeah,
the day-to-day work they do and then training after work, and, the sacrifices they all make. So, yeah, I'm loving it at the moment.
Yeah, it's been brilliant, and I have enjoyed as well. I'm sure you both agree that I've genuinely felt this last week or so that rugby league has been in the spotlight quite significantly. I felt like as the World Cup sort of ramped up and got the wheels have been turning, that I don't know, this week especially, I felt like rugby league's been in the news a little bit more, and I've heard it on TalkSport a bit more. And do you think, Loz, that's because we're kind of getting to the crunch of this World Cup? Because obviously we have seen a lot of blowout games. That happens every World Cup, I'd like to say. There are these emerging nations that kind of come in. But have you felt the same this week, Loz, that we've had a bit more of a media of attention and a bit more of a spotlight on us this week?
Yeah, there has been. I think as well, we've got to look forward to the event starting this week as well, which obviously Mark's just briefly mentioned. I think this next week in particular is massive for the sport, because you're going to have everything all happening at once. It's the perfect time for RFL, the Rugby League World Cup organiser, everybody just to say, this is us, this is how good we are, and
look at us.
If we don't get this promoted, then you've got to think, what are we doing? But the game at Headingley is Tuesday, isn't it? If I remember right, I think Tuesday. That's
a double header.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I can't go due to work, but that is going to be a huge occasion, especially as it's on BBC Two as well. Brilliant time for the sport.
Do you agree with that, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just on that, lads, I've got to say, and I know rugby league fans get this reputation of doing the sport down, but I just think it could have been marketed a whole lot better, in the build-up. Yeah. I mean, the BBC have done us proud. They've put it on all the platforms. We're on BBC Two, we're on Red Button, we're on iPlayer, we're on BBC Three. They give us a great coverage, the analysis, the commentary. We've managed to get the legend that is Andrew Voss over here. If you've never heard that fella commentate, listeners, get behind him because he is outstanding. The guy is a legend in commentary, and it's just I just think we could have marketed it just that little bit better. We've just had half term, so why not kids for £1? Something like get more kids into games. I don't mind us taking it around the country, playing in Newcastle, playing in St Helens, Lee, all over there, or Middlesbrough today. I've no problem with that, but let's get it out. Let's market it better. I think the RFL and the Rugby League World Cup organisers have a duty of care because they've got our sport in their hands. So that's my only bugbear with it. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
No, Mark, I totally agree. It's funny enough, actually, today on Twitter, on the Liners View thing that I run, I put a thing out about the prices. And to me, the price of the tickets are very high for our sport, for this tournament. And the amount of people that said, yeah, you're right. But there are also a lot of people going, well, it's a big tournament. You've got to pay these prices, premium prices, etc. But it's like, well, you've got to understand the market that they're trying to aim for over here. Don't pay that price usually. I know it's a bigger tournament.
What all tight bastards.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say. But anyway, no. But do you know what I mean? And I was literally like thinking to myself, you've got to appeal to the market that that you're aiming it at, but putting the price so high, it is a danger, and that's what we're seeing. That's why Middlesbrough today, it was like barely anybody there. And you're just thinking, if we'd have put the prices down and marketed it better, we'd have seen stadiums 3/4 full. It's that sort of thing, isn't it?
For me, especially Middlesbrough, what should have happened 2 weeks before the kids broke up, get into every primary school with a handful of tickets here, bring your mum and dad, get down here. They could have a build-up to game, face painting and all the jazz what kids want to do in half-term, and then get them into a game and say, look, this is rugby league, kids.
Yeah.
I can't think that it's an opportunity missed.
I agree.
And as good as, the players are putting it in, the coaches are putting it in, the presenters, the actual BBC have done an outstanding job, by the way. I can't big them up enough for it. But, it's just at, boardroom level, these big executives that are supposedly brought in, because they earn the big money, they know about marketing. Nah, I expect more, and I think as a sport we should demand more.
The thing is, you've got to think as well, like 2013 World Cup, the prices were all right, weren't they? And there were deals, you could buy bundles of tickets, and it was brilliant. You got decent crowds everywhere. Whereas this tournament, they've seemed to have just approached it in this is a premium tournament, we're going to charge premium prices. And you just think, yeah, but not everybody, especially at the minute, not everyone can do every game at 30 ticket. And I think that's the worry. I know they did like bundles, like when they did early bird prices, didn't they? But that was like 3 years ago, and world's changed, hasn't it? So
it has, it's a different landscape, isn't it?
Well, that's what I mean, Matt. I think, I don't know, we've kind of discussed this every week now, the ticket prices thing. And as I've said before, I'm on the fence because I believe you can't cheapen the product because it is a World Cup. But then I'm also like, we need more people there because it looks bad. I'm on the fence. I'm 50-50, but Mark's right there. You've got to.
Yeah, sorry.
You've got to read the room, and they haven't done
exactly.
that.
Perfect saying. Read the room.
Yeah.
Build up to the World Cup. Take a look at things. Laurie says there, and Andy was on last week with us from the Loose Forward podcast, and he kind of said he got loads of tickets back when they first came on sale. I can't remember how much, just a couple of £100, I think he said, and it's pretty much going to every game close to where he lives, and he's like, it was a great deal at the time. So you kind of weigh that up with the modern world, and as the World Cup's creeping up, like last year, they should have looked at things and been like, how have the sales been going? Where are we weaker? What can we do? And paint that picture out to say, right, what are the games where we really want people to turn up? For me, that's the Kiwi games and the Australia games, because that's an enticement to people who perhaps don't know the game to say, right, this is the Kiwis, it's the Haka, it's all that brings with that, and then all the razzmatazz, and then Australia, because they are the best in the world. These are the NRL stars, and aim at them, and like Mark said, throw the tickets at the kids and put the bundles in place. And I know it's one of those where people will say, I'm sure Laurie spoke about this on the interview as well, where they'll say, oh, well, you can't go saying it's now £15 a ticket when I paid 30, but it's like, it's one of those where it's for the greater good of the game in a way, you know. It's like, fair enough, you might have paid a bit more, and that's unfortunate. I know it's another thing where they'll say it'll stop people preventing from buying early tickets, but they had to do something. They just had to do something.
You've got a really awkward situation on Friday night where you got Australia playing Lebanon at Huddersfield, where tickets, the cheapest ones are £25 at Huddersfield. Now, we've discussed this before about Huddersfield. No offence to the Giants, they do a brilliant job in trying to market themselves out to the local community. But you're talking getting fans to Huddersfield on a Friday night at cheapest tickets, £25. Now, yes, it's Australia, and Lebanon might put up a good fight, but again, you're starting the pricing at a premium price, and I just feel for me, you want to encourage people to go, and just because it's Australia, I don't think people will now, because it's just you've got your tickets and people have, but I'm not sure you'll get many walk-ins. I don't know.
We'll see. Every week we'll discuss these fucking ticket prices. Anyway, moving on. England's game was England versus Greece. I think on the last World Cup lot podcast, myself, Andrew Foster, Reese, and Andy from the Loose Forward podcast, I think we all pretty much said England would score a minimum of 70 points. I kind of tweeted before the game yesterday, as we record this, they'll get 100. I think England will rack up 100 points. Should we? I'm kind of talking about this to Stats, LUFC Stats Andrew, who were kind of saying, he texted me saying, are these blowouts bad for the World Cup? How do you see it, Mark? Do you think these games are people going to turn off from these games? So say, for instance, Mark, you just coming from work, you press BBC One on, and let's say it's the New Zealand 52, Greece 0 at half time. What are you doing from that position, Mark?
I was switching over, but on the flip side of that, you know what I mean? We're dyed-in-the-wool rugby league people.
Yeah.
You know, we love the sport. For newcomers, they may look at that New Zealand team and think, wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look at these guys. I mean, when you see Asafa Solomona in full flight and Sapini and, you know what I mean? And you got like, what's the old Brandon Smith and them, and you're like, wow, you could just be awestruck by them.
Yeah.
But that's the market that they're missing out when it goes back to the pricing and the marketing and everything. I mean, on the other side of that, you know, the teams that are getting a tonking, it's good experience for them individually to come up against the very best, so they know what that level looks like and what it feels like. But again, from that, like I was saying before, we need to have International Rugby League every year, and the teams like Scotland, Jamaica, Italy, France, that they need to be on their own, you know, have their own tournament, just to get better, to play together more regularly, get more experience, and then maybe put you know, a qualifying set in between that. I mean, for me, you could even arguably have Australia A in there, New Zealand Maori, England Knights, and I do think that they'd give certain teams a better game than some of the other lads, but I don't want to begrudge. I'm not begrudging them of that occasion and that event where they can walk out and say, I played against New Zealand.
No.
You know what I mean? I went toe to toe with James Tedesco when I played Australia.
Yeah. And I think you make a point as well where they have to play at this level to kind of know the level. You know, I know like playing in Greece against England is it's like completely different in comparison, but they have to know that this is that standard, and then that kind of, as you say, they can say, right, yeah, I've played against, you know, Jack Wellesby or Dom Young and all those other players, and they can kind of take that back and say, and if all those Greece players, those Greeks that go back to Greece, Laurie, they've got the story to say, to pass on to the locals there young kids who might be like, what, you know, and say, yeah, this was me, and it could be you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this, but in the press conference, the Greek coach basically bursting in tears. They were
Yeah.
crying. And I think a lot of people don't realise this. It's like people be going, blowout scores, blowout this. This is a journey. This is a journey for some of these teams, okay? For Greece, I mean, I followed them for the last coming up to 3 years now. It's an incredible story. And what other chances we're going to give them? And not other chances, sorry, but what we're going to deny them an opportunity to play in this tournament. They've gone through every round of qualifiers to get to this place. Are we going to say, nah, because you're not good enough? No, we say, well done, Greece. And I tell you what, the team that I can guarantee you this, the team that started out on this World Cup qualifying journey to the team that played us yesterday, the learning curve and quality and admiration from the distance between that point to yesterday, up the roof, okay? They have made so many new friends, and the same can be said for Jamaica. What we have to do is we can't lose focus on developing it. We have to go, look, Greece, next year, play a tournament. Try to get a tournament in France or play France. Even because Spain are emerging. There's Germany playing it, and Dutch, and Serbia. Get them to have a little tournament or something, or do a European Shield and get Wales and Scotland playing it. Simple things like that. We need these sort of nations playing continuously, because if they don't, they'll just stagnate, and we can't have that. We need that for future tournaments. We've got World Cup in 3 years' time. We could have a situation where, well, probably that's a bit too near, but say next one after that, we could have Greece doing really well, maybe getting a couple of wins. You never know. Look at, sorry, going on a tangent here. Japan Rugby Union, they played World Cup many years ago, got tonked 144-0 by Japan, New Zealand. 2 days ago, they played New Zealand in Tokyo and only just lost, and they played the New Zealand first strength team.
Yeah.
Development and putting things into place.
Proof's in the pudding.
We can't just ditch them. These people going these minnows early on to play like a little tournament. I don't think they do. Get them playing against the big nations all the time, or at least get them going, because that's how they'll learn,
consistently. Yeah, it's a good point. So moving on to the England versus Greece game itself, I think there is a breakout star. We've kind of spoke about him every World Cup lot podcast now. Dom Young, 4 tries in the first half for him. He went to the NRL, am I right in saying before he'd even played for Huddersfield? Am I right in saying that? I think so.
Near enough.
Do you think now that Dom Young is playing in the NRL, he's playing for England, top try scorer at a World Cup, do you think this move, that because Dom Young went out there so early in his career, not even a Super League game, or maybe, I'm not sure, 1 or 2, do you think this could entice more young players, Mark, to be like, right, well, any opportunity I get, if any club sniffs or even kind of shows any interest in me, I'm going?
Well, it's always been there. You look at, we all know our very own Harry Newman. He's had an NRL club sniffing around him for a couple of years. I know at a very early stage, Liam Sutcliffe had a fair bit of interest, believe it or not. So we know it's there. They took young Sutton from Wigan, didn't they, to Canberra?
Yeah.
So it's. I'm sure it's a path and an ambition for many, many. For what English lads. Why wouldn't you? But at the same point, from a Super League point of view, we want to try and keep our best youngsters. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I can see the attraction. I'm good on him for backing himself.
Yeah.
At that point, there were no guarantees. He was going into Newcastle into their development program. They're not going to say that you're going to get a first team deal out of it. He left Huddersfield's academy, backed himself, that lad.
Shows what you've got. It is.
The thing is out there, which I really do envy, is their second grade and reserve grade is such a good standard.
Yeah.
So even playing at that level out there, he's learning his trade. He's playing against really good players week in, week out, and that's when you go from a boy to be a man. And we've seen what he can do. I mean, he's just one of them kids. If you give him the ball in the right areas, he'll score. If you take your eye off him, he's past you. If you try and out-muscle him, he'll go over you. He's fearless. So good on him. I mean, he's got the attributes to be a world-class winger. He really has. I mean, he's really is he ready to step up and take Ryan Hall's mantle? You know what I mean? But fair play to the kid. He's great to watch. There's going to be tougher tests to come. But on the other side of that, he's been up against the best New Zealanders. He's been up against the best Aussies. It will not faze him. So from an England point of view, it's great. From a selfish Super League Leeds fan, do I want the NRL to take Harry Newman off us? Not on your Nelly.
No chance.
No thanks.
For me, Settivano's getting his marquee deal torn up, and that's going on in Harry's back pocket as soon as humanly possible.
Laurie, do you agree with that, or do you think that some younger Super League talent now might look at Dom Young and think, "Oh, I think I'm going to jump over there as soon as I can"?
I think there will be players, youngsters, who go, "Oh, I could do that quite easily." And fair play. I agree with Mark 100%. I think it's one of those where our sport's in a position where it's almost, without sounding bad here, it's almost sink or swim, isn't it? You've got to either improve the product or improve what you've got to offer these kids. Otherwise, they're going to go, you know. Yeah. I think as well, we've got to start looking at getting these players into teams. I know it sounds daft to say, but you might have all this talent, but instead of signing players from Australia who are in the 30s or signing some, get these kids into the teams. That's the quickest way to learn and develop as well. So I think for Super League, it's a position that needs to be implemented where basically this new proposal thing coming in, but they should be focusing on getting the youth through. Have to do it.
Yeah. I'd like to see a quota, an homegrown quota. Where you have to have a minimum, say you could raise your match day squad from 17 to 20, and at least say 7 or 8 have to come through your academy. And there's sense. No input to babies. I mean, France got on the riding tonight. I think that's where they've gone wrong with Catalans. They've produced some good French players, but in drips and drabs.
Yeah,
and I think we've, losing to Toulouse and all getting relegated. I don't think that's good for the international game.
No,
over that. Do you know what I mean? We should be safeguarding it. I mean, I understand why when Catalans was coming to Super League, they had all these caveats that they could have more overseas and they couldn't get relegated for a couple of years. But even now, all their big players, their big money players, they're all imports.
Yeah.
So to help France, it's great that we've got that Justin Sangare. I'm so excited to see him. But for France to get better, it'd be better if we had a strong Toulouse and a strong French country, Catalan, and they carried on that process.
At the top level.
For me personally, I would look at an homegrown quota.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to your marquee side of things, give it to these young English lads. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Andy Ackers scored 2 tries. Tom Burgess scored 2 tries. Someone else that the 3 of us being Leeds fans love, we adore, also scored 2 tries. I said it on last week's World Cup Lot podcast. Ryan Hall scoring tries for England just feels like the most natural thing, like ever, or one of the most natural things. Like he's just born to do it. One of the most natural things on the planet. 2 more tries for him. His try scoring record is phenomenal. Club level, international level. For me, he has to start the next game for England. How do you see it, Loz? Do you think he should?
It's tough, isn't it? 'Cause it's against PNG, so it's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? I think he offers a lot of experience, doesn't he? All right, he's lost maybe a little bit of his pace, but
could still finish.
Yeah, if he can, put a good centre outside of him, he'll be outstanding. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously going to be his last World Cup, but you just feel like he'll always offer you everything. He always
scores. I know I'm kind of saying the 2 games that he's played, but he just always scores. Yeah. Always.
But you can rely on him as well. He's reliable, isn't he? That's the thing with Ryan.
He's done it so many times.
I think it's one of those where if you, you've got to think to yourself, is it going to be chosen? I would. Yeah, you've got to do. I mean, PNG are going to be tough. And they've got some big boys in their squad. You need somebody who can also take it in. Ryan Hall can take it in as well. So it's one of those where, for me, I know his legs might be going, but he adds experience, and that's always what you need in a World Cup.
Do you agree with that, Mark? Do you think Hall should for the next game looking like PNG?
Well, I love Hawley. What I've seen him do in a Leeds shirt and in England shirt is unbelievable. He's been outstanding. But for me, going forward, our two best wingers are Dom Young and Makinson. And I don't think that's no disrespect to Hall. There's no downside on Hall, but I think possession is 9 cents of the law. And I don't think there's anything in Makinson and Young that means that they deserve to be dropped. So for me, I'd stick with them two for the time being. There is, obviously, if you're going to put a utility back on the bench rather than a second hooky, he could fill that role. And you've got option then of Tompkins into halves, or you cover at full back and wing there with Makinson, and all could come on to wing. There's definitely, it's definitely a discussion worth having. And a lot of people will say, get him into the team, he deserves it. I would, if he was named on the wing, I wouldn't say, nah, that's not right. But for me personally, picking the team tomorrow, I'd stick with Young and Makinson because it works so well against Samoa. I just thought, yeah, that was us putting a marker down saying it's an home World Cup. We've been doubted by many, including me. I thought Samoa would give us a right. I did,
and me.
I mean, I don't think you can read.
Is there an echo in here?
You can't read too much into.
I'm going to do predictions again.
You can't read too much into France and Greece results. Papua New Guinea will be tougher because remember the beat Great Britain with Blake Austin starring on the wing after Florence Hanley out there by that Burke Bennett. But yeah, I want our best 17 for me is Young and Makinson on wing. But there's an argument for Hall to be involved. If he did drop one, I certainly won't be dropping Dom Young. So there you go.
Yeah, undroppable. You kind of touched on it there, Mark, that England have beat Samoa, who were, I don't know, undercooked, are looking a bit better now. Like they're getting their wheels turning. England beat France and Greece. Laurie, do you think we should be excited by this England side and what they can achieve? Or do you think it's a case of, I know Samoa didn't play up to their standard. They're kind of getting better as the tournament goes on. Do you think it's a case of England haven't really played anyone yet and it's like going to get more tests now? Or do you think, no, we should be excited by what this England side can kind of achieve?
I'm going to be a bit dodgy. I'm going to be sitting on the fence with both those points that you just raised. I think we can be excited. We came up against Samoa, who we'd already been written off, included by me, and you, and literally we blasted them out of the park. Yeah, you can go, but Samoa had injuries. That doesn't matter. You're playing against a team that had a lot of NRL quality. We blasted them off the park. Obviously, with France, that were a tougher game, but obviously we're kind of going through the motions. As for Greece, yeah, we did what we had to do, and we racked up points. I think we have to approach the game with a bit more. PNG are going to come at us. They know they can do a good job. They can do it. We have to think in terms of we have got to play like we did against Samoa, straight down the middle, get the props going, get the forwards blasting it. Just make sure that we don't get beat by pace, which PNG do have. It's going to be an interesting one, I think.
Mark?
Yeah, completely agree with Laurie. 100%. We have to approach it like we approached the Samoa game. These last 2 weeks have it's been a case of us ticking over, keeping the legs fresh, going through the motions, getting our combinations right. But yeah, PNG will be a tougher test. I still expect us to win, to be honest. But we can't go in it, approach it mentally like we did against France or Greece, because mentally, we knew we'd won that. I mean, if we're brutally honest, we're going to set up and say, yeah, it's going to be, we can talk about, say, yeah, we expect a tough game. A rugby league's a tough sport. Whatever level you play at, you can run 100 points on a team, but at the end of that game, you're aching. You know you've been in a game because you're getting whacked consistently. You've got bigger blokes than you running at you consistently. So in terms of that, won't read too much into the next 2 weeks. I was buzzing after the Samoa game, and I'm not having anyone tell me, oh, they're undercooked. They've had to travel. Wow. Absolute rubbish. They went into that game. They wanted to win, and they couldn't because England blasted them. Papua New Guinea, it'll be a different proposition. The thing with like Papua New Guinea, and even Samoa now to a certain extent, the play with this freedom that they've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And the best analogy I can describe it is when you come up with a team who are playing for a nation, for their communities, for their villages. That's worth 10 times anybody who's getting paid to play.
Yes.
I'm not saying the England players aren't proud. I'm not downplaying them at all. They're proud lads, and they've grafted hard to get where they are to earn that shirt. But sometimes in sport, you can wobble, and like Tonga did, and all in the last World Cup, and we've got to bring us A game. And if it's a blowout, then so be it. But we've got to go at them full speed for the full 80. I expect us to win, but it'll be a tough game.
That being said, do you think, Loz, this England side, could you see this England side beating Australia, beating New Zealand, beating Tonga? Any of those? Let's just remind everybody who listened or maybe didn't listen previously, who did you say were going to win the World Cup, Laurie?
I did say Tonga, didn't I?
You did.
And they looked ridiculous in that first half today. Absolutely ridiculous. And you can go that Cook Islands were rubbish. No, Tonga it was almost like a little fuse had just been lit, and that was it. I'll be honest, I think we'll get beaten in the semis by Tonga quite easily. I just think the way they moved the ball, especially today, was just ridiculous. I think we'll get to semis, and that'll be it. But you don't know. Who knows? We've got home advantage. It's that added thing of we've got home advantage, and we've got a team who play really well. So you don't know, do you? That's the issue. But I think Tonga will be a much bigger task. I don't think we'll do it. Oh, I've said this. We'll end up winning, won't we? A 91st drop minute.
Our predictions are going on this podcast, yeah?
How many predictions? And I always have it happened with nearly the tattoo. I've said song. Oh, anyway, no, let's not do that.
At least you didn't put a tattoo on the line this time.
No. Can I just point out there's a couple of people on Twitter have run a prediction competition thing for this for the Lebanon game. Not Lebanon. Lebanon game today. I actually predict that's the actual points difference exactly right. So 62.
You do get some right then.
Yeah, so I can predict right. It says.
Mark, do you think this England side could beat Australia, New Zealand, Tonga?
I think we can beat Tonga. I really do. I think key to getting to Tonga, and same with Samoa, is sticking it that first 20 minutes, getting the grind with them. And I agree with Oz. Some of their free-flowing rugby were great today. But when you get into them, you do find them make a lot of errors. And then they do look a bit lost. So, absolutely. I think we can beat Tonga. I really do. New Zealand and Australia, that's different gravy. That's another level.
Yeah.
I do think that both them teams have gone up another level since we last played the World Cup over here. We lost agonisingly in that last minute at Wembley, at Olympic Stadium. Sorry, I were at that game, and I thought that were our best chance and best year to win it, and we didn't. And again, you've just got. The thing with Australia and New Zealand, they've got this process of just churning out superstar after superstar after superstar. It's ridiculous. They could bring 2 or 3 teams over and beat England.
I think it's a good question because especially Australia, if you look at, and I've said this loads of times on the Lot Pod, not this one, on our excuse me, Leeds Rhinos podcast, whenever we discuss Australia and NRL, their depth for their Australia team, you'd have to, like Mark says, how far down the depth of each position would you have to go until you could put the England side or whoever and match them up? You'd have to be 4th choice.
Right.
Just kinda make it fair.
Just for the record here, I'm going to say something. I know I'll get booed for this. I actually support Manly, right? I don't know how Dala Cherry Evans gets into this Australian team. I think he's won a competition to play. That's honestly, I don't understand. I saw him at Headingley, kicking game awful. You know, the games he has played, his decision making is terrible, and yet he's still getting games. I'm thinking, how you're terrible for Manly. You make so many errors, and yet you're still playing in an Australian shirt. I don't get it. There is a weakness. There we go.
I think Meninga flew him over because Cleary played in the NRL Grand Final. So I think going to give him I know you're right. He could have picked anyone else, but I think he was just like, right, I'll fly you over.
Yeah.
You can play a couple of games, but then it's Cleary.
Yeah, he's awful.
It's ridiculous that their depth annoys me. It makes me sick to my back teeth. But
this is why we need to develop the youngsters. This is why we need to develop our youngsters.
Yeah. I mean, just churn them out. You know, it's just, you know, if you don't fancy playing one, he picks him up and then grabs the next one and drops him in. And I've said it again. I've said it before. When you watch the NRL, you'll watch, I don't know, Melbourne Storm, and they'll say, right, Cam Munster's injured or he's banned, but here's Daryl Murphy, this 19-year-old, and you're like, all right, and they're like, yeah, he's really good, and it's his first game, and he scores 2 tries and 2 assists, and you're like, what the fuck? It's like, in his debut, it's like
that's a great example.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a great example because there was a debate, wasn't there, about moving Munster from fullback to 6, just like a lot of years ago. I don't know if you remember Darren Lockyer doing the same.
Lockyer did it, yeah.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I can actually see Tedesco doing it sometime in the near future. But then they do that, and I think, well, where are Melbourne going to go now? Then Pappenhausen rocks up with an even worse mullet, an even better player. You're like, wow. And it's nothing. There's no warning that it's happening. It just happens naturally, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's just, this player's gone. Here's this youngster. And then you watch it.
Exactly.
Like, eyes on the prize. And, well, there's a fantastic example, local Leeds lad, Sam Walker, when he made his debut for the Roosters. Unbelievable. It was like, what? It's like, and then if you do watch things like Fox 360 or the Round Table or all that NRL Fox Sports coverage, these players, these youngsters, no matter what position they are, we're kind of talking halfbacks now, but no matter what position they are, they'll play 10 games, and on these panels in the media, they're all talking like his contract's up. If he goes to market, he's going to be worth close to £1 million. Like Matt Burton for Canterbury. You know, they're all saying he's $1 million, and it's like, what?
And that salary cap is how much? Yeah,
it's the pedigree is absolutely unbelievable. It makes me sick to my back teeth, and I really do hope that someone can beat him at this World Cup. I really do. I don't want to.
New Zealand could. I think New Zealand could.
New Zealand will beat them in final.
Please.
They can't play him in final, mate.
Oh, they can't play him in final. They're not the same run.
Oh, right, well, New Zealand will beat them in semi.
Yeah. Ellen Road will be New Zealand.
Everyone get down to Ellen Road in all black. We've all got a black t-shirt and a black coat.
Yeah.
You know. Cheer them on. Make it like a home game.
Make it like awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, back to where we were. We digress. Good chat, though. Papua New Guinea next for England. Prediction, Mark? Do you think England will come through this one?
Yeah, I think we'll win 38-14.
Nice, full prediction as well. Loz?
England by 18.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be an easy game for England. I think they'll win by 28-30, something around that.
That will surprise me. If we get a good start on them, and the chasing a lost cause, they will tire to it in that last 20 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. Talking of Papua New Guinea, I would genuinely, we're Leeds fans, if anyone that's just tuning in now, or you're probably well aware, myself, Laurie and Mark, all regulars on the Lot Pod, all massive Leeds fans. I was absolutely devastated when Reece Martin missed the conversion to break the world record. How did you two? Stupid question, but were you two just as gutted?
Yeah, it felt heartbreaking.
Honestly, I was.
Yeah, you just felt like he's had such a good stretch. I mean, he's lasted longer than three British prime ministers. He's been absolutely superb, and then he missed it with a one kick. And it was thinking as well, wasn't it? Kendall moved the ball, didn't he? He moved it, he set it up, and then he moved it. I hate Chris Kendall. Hashtag.
Yo, guy. Don't say it again. Mark, were you just as gutted?
Yeah, it were like it were upsetting, wasn't it? I mean,
I'm devastated. Honestly.
You think how he's been for us this year. Even when we've been poor, he's never dropped under 8 out of 10. He's really emerged as a key player, a key leader. He sets an example off on the pitch. His work rate. He works, playing back row. I mean, he's playing against some big boys. He has to compose himself. They have to get him battered around to set these kicks. On the upside, the saving grace was out wide. So he wanted as though he's missed a sitter in front of post. So it was devastating for him. But I mean, his name's still in history. He's still matched the world record. You know what I mean? He's still very much loved at HQ. So it was gutting for him. But fair play. It didn't rattle him, did it? You know what I mean? He saw a good game. He still kicked from touchline, so it was all right.
I think
I hope we destroy him next week, and then he can go on his Ollibobs and have a rest.
And come back and kick 100 out of 100.
Yeah,
for Leeds next year. No, I honestly gutted, and it felt like I keep saying I've said this before, but I don't have that I'm not engulfed in for England. I love international rugby league, but I'm not engulfed in England as I am Leeds. Leeds engulfs me. It's in my being. And when Reece were knocking these over for this World Cup, it felt very Leeds to me because obviously he's a Leeds player. So when he missed, I was devastated, absolutely. But like Mark says, it's the mark of the man. I mean, since we've brought him in, he's just continued to improve, turned into a bit of a lot pod this now. He's just continued to improve and improve and improve. And I'm adamant that he strikes me as the type of guy who, although he's missed this one to break the record, he strikes me as the type of guy to be like, I'm gonna fucking get it next time. I'm gonna do it again, and I'm gonna break it. He seems that kind of character. But hopefully misses them all against England on the playing quarterfinal and starts again the week after. Yeah. Just to kind of wrap up the other World Cup results. It was, have I got that right? Lebanon 74, Jamaica 12. Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Thanks for nodding. I don't think I've got that right. Lebanon 74, Jamaica 12, Tonga 92, Cook Islands 10, Australia 66, Italy 6, Fiji 30, Scotland 14, New Zealand 48, Ireland 10, and then tomorrow, as we record this on Sunday evening, it is Papua New Guinea versus Wales. Just on New Zealand versus Ireland, Jared, Wahera, Hargreaves, did you both see the high shot? Did you think that was a red card, Mark?
100%.
Agreed.
He's a lovely bloke. I met him before. Anyway, Leeds game. No, but I agree. No, it was dodgy, wasn't it? I know he's just come back from a ban, but I think he's going to have another ban in it from tomorrow.
Well, you're right. He'll get banned. But this is now. There was another game. You two might remember. There was another game with a high shot that wasn't given as a red. For the life of me, can't remember. But it seems that, like at the World Cup, for whatever reason, they've kind of said, right, we're being more lenient here, with these high shots.
Yeah.
But I can tell you now, I'm adamant on this. There'll be a shot just like Wahera Hargreaves shot in the coming rounds, and it will be given as a red card. That is
Exactly.
Rugby League 101. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. And from a point of view of consistency, if rugby league is serious about head injuries, player welfare, they're the incidents that need to be sent off. It doesn't matter what tournament it is, what ground it's on, who the player is. It's a red card, and possibly you almost missed the World Cup, pal. Because we can't have that, because a bloke of that size and of that power really could end somebody's career.
Yeah.
Now we've got all this technology, all this science that we know about the impacts of rugby league players and the head injuries, and our very own Stevie Ward.
Yeah.
There's other players. What's happened to Rob Burrow, although we're not sure if we can't really prove if that were a head-eye tackle. This is a massive collision sport, and for me, officials, as well as doing the jobs fairly and consistently, they have a duty of care. And he should not have been on the field. It's not just about, it's a red card, it's inconsistent, it were Hicks. We're talking a lot more concerning here in all of our sport going forward. Because let's put it this way, if that had been Tetevano on Walmsley, it'd have been a red card and 15-game ban. Yeah. Guaranteed. It wouldn't have even gone to the screen.
No.
So what's different now?
He'd have been fumbling to get his cards out of his pocket.
You're
gone. But you're gone. Where is it?
Yeah.
See you later, sunshine.
Then have you guys watched Fiji Scotland yesterday?
I did. Good game, that.
That second half was a bit, how can we put this, a bit grubby, wasn't it, to say the least? And there was
winger. Is it like winger?
High shots in that. And that, it was Coote, wasn't it? Lachlan Coote.
Lachlan Walmsley.
Walmsley, sorry. How did he only get a yellow card?
No idea.
I mean, I've got it on tape, lads. I was working yesterday, so you'll have to keep bring me up to speed.
Spoiler alert, Mark.
No, mate, not at all. I'm intrigued to hear stuff like this because we've got these players that don't play at this level. You know what I mean? You want them to have a go and have a dunk. I mean, that winger who plays for Wales, that Evans. I think he's had an outstanding tournament. I didn't even know he were a Wakefield player, and I certainly didn't realise that he was 32 and he's only been playing rugby league a year.
I didn't.
So when you look at players like that who get stuck in and taking the chance with both hands, but then this Walmsley apparently been a grub and you're like, well, you're going to come a crop of sunshine. You know what I mean? Because you're going to do it to the wrong person. So very soon.
He did about 3 things, didn't he, in a space of about 5 minutes? And then the highlight, the icing on the cake was a really dodgy, high shot. And it wasn't even a high tackle. It literally was a swinging arm. And literally, as soon as it happened, I was eating the tea and I just went, oh no, he's off. And that was
he was destined to get sent off, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was just
literally haymakers getting launched on him by Fiji, who are the nicest team in the world. They're literally
they sing a beautiful song before.
I love that.
They were battering him.
That's the pre-match ritual of a lifetime. Is that hearing them live do that? It's amazing.
It is spine tingling, and every time I watch that, I'm getting them now, but I just get goosebumps. I don't know what it is. It really hits home. Those kind of Islander players, the passion that they bring, it's unbelievable. It's just, I admire every single one of them. Fiji, Cook Islands, Samoa, Tonga, the way they play and the way it's just, it's unbelievable. I'd love to. Well, it is. It's Tonga Samoa next. Isn't it? I mean, that's going to be an absolute barnstorm. That's one where you kind of look at it and think, game at tournament. What could
there will be blood?
There will be blood. Yeah. And what other game could match that? Probably Kiwis, Australia, Ellen Road. Those are the real two, aren't they? You look at him like, wow, unmissable. Like Mark says, as rugby league diehard fans, and even as people switching on, just channel surfing, they'll see that and go, whew. One of those straight away. You're like, this will be tasty, really tasty. Is Jason Taumalolo back for Tonga?
Yeah.
He played today.
Yeah, he did, didn't he, of course.
It was absolutely lethal.
So the quarterfinals are Australia, Lebanon, think there's only one winner there. You both agree?
Aussies by 50.
Yeah, I agree.
40 to
Yep.
50.
Yeah. England, Papua New Guinea, as we've kind of discussed. New Zealand, Fiji. I think that'll be another interesting game. I don't think Fiji will leave that one without, holding themselves to a good standard. And then for me, tie the round, Tonga and Samoa. Tonga and Samoa are on the collision course, I believe, for England. So England's going to come up either against a resurgent Samoa or a powerhouse in Tonga. So those are the quarterfinals. We will be back to review them next Sunday around a similar time, along with reviewing the England Papua New Guinea game. We'll probably have a bit more to get our teeth into there because there were no point in us just ripping Greece apart and all these tries. So England won 94-4. I've got a guy who always emails in saying on the Lot Pod usually, but he did email this week saying we never say the score, or very rarely when we review games, and I never tell anybody my name.
It's Lottie. What more do you need? Yeah.
You know, on the intro, he honestly, he's emailed about 4 times. And he says, you never say the score and you never tell us what your name is. Everyone knows. And I think that angle of, I don't want it, when we review games, we just review as fans what we see, don't we, and what we've liked. We don't want to be like, right, this person scored in the 4th minute. This person scored. Like, no, we want to review and what we've enjoyed, what we didn't like, and what we rant about. But yeah, that guy, he's even emailing me now saying, sorry?
We're not boots at all or soccer Saturday.
I know. We're a fan channel. So, the Women's World Cup starts on Tuesday at Headingley. Is it England-Brazil?
Yeah.
England-Brazil. I've heard ticket sales are really good for that, even though it is 2:30 kickoff, I think. Is it a double header?
Yeah.
I think that Mark kind of touched on it about getting primary school kids involved and half term. I believe they've done a big kind of school initiative to kind of say, right, come on down, come on in, half term, etc. England's chances at this World Cup, Mark, you did a fantastic article for us in our Lot 17A fanzine about Women's Rugby League, and we're going to touch on the incredible groundbreaking news from the Rhinos after this. But England's chances, Mark, at this World Cup, can you see them taking a few scalps?
I think they'll throw a few good punches.
Got a good squad.
They won't be overawed by it. I still think in terms of development over here, like Super League with NRL, theirs with the female NRL, they've got their own NRL competition. They've got their own state of origin. So I think we'll come up against Australia and New Zealand. And again, I think it might be a step too far. But last time they played Papua New Guinea, they lost to Papua New Guinea. So I can see revenge on the cards, coming through. And again, it's Women's Rugby League. It's still in its infancy over here. Until you break the news in a minute about Rhinos, they're not paid. They're part time. They're not. They've all got jobs. They train on as well when they can. It's an outstanding product, and I stand by that. And hopefully, from this World Cup, they grow, and the Rhinos leading the way, which we're going to reveal shortly. The game will continuously grow, but we've got some really exciting female players in our team. Not just the Leeds ladies. There's some great players from St Helens, Sarah Stanley from York. To watch her,
she's brilliant, Mark.
She is a Rolls Royce.
She's a superstar.
Don't get me wrong. You hear me. You've even read it if you've had the Lot Pod fanzine. Rob, Caitlin Beefers, Georgia Roach, so on.
Yeah.
But there's some really, really talented women. And for people that haven't watched it yet, when you see it, you're going to be pleasantly surprised because these girls don't hold back.
No, they don't. And it's very similar as we spoke about earlier, Loz, when you were talking about Greece, that development, continually playing. It's almost as if, like Mark says there, that the Australian side have the NRL, they have the women's state of origin, so they're on again, like the male counterparts, they're on a really high level. It's almost as if the tables have turned here. It's like England, in this instance, in the women's game, are Greece in that the development stage. So it's like, again, it's just development for England, for the other lesser nations, Brazil, etc., where we need to play these games consistently, have these World Cups consistently, get more nations in the World Cup, so it just develops and kind of takes off from there.
But the one thing that I think we really have to focus on is getting as much of this Women's World Cup out there. I know it's on BBC. Yeah, I get that. But you've got to, because let's be honest, we could target a generation of girls who could go, I want to play this. This looks really fun. And do you know what? This is the perfect opportunity that sport has to take. And if it doesn't,
absolutely,
we're not only shooting ourselves in the foot, as horrible as it sounds, might just want to give up, because this is it. You've got to think, right? The next generation of players could be playing in the World Cup in 3 years' time, then another 8 years. This is important, so important that we get this right for the England women, because we're going to have so many young lasses who watch this and go, I want to play for my local team. What do I do? And I mean, I walked past Rhino's training ground today, and they've been having like a training thing this weekend, a recruitment drive, I think it is, for the women's team. And there were so many lasses on 4G pitch at Coast this morning. So it's almost like the sport is growing, and it needs that. This really needs a really, well, it's going to have a good World Cup, but I think it's one of those where there's going to be so much coverage. Lasses will be like, I want to play this. Oh, we can't go wrong. You know, it's there development-wise.
Absolutely.
And then, just on a tangent there, lads, how good is it to see female officials and all?
Oh,
brilliant.
In class. Well,
how good is that?
Such a good point, Mark. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Did a great job as well.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, they're doing a good job. And it's that wall's got to be taken down now. It's not a man's world. It hasn't been a man's world for decades.
No.
Let's grab the future. Like Laurie says, let's inspire these young girls, these women. They can aspire to, to be a Caitlin Beavers or a Georgia Roach or a Tara Stanley. Let them aspire to those great things. They can aspire to walk out in Headingley in a Leeds shirt, or out at the Totally Wicked Stadium in a St Helens shirt. Do you know what I mean? Imagine a girl thinking that, achieving it, and then thinking, I'm going to play in a World Cup against Australia in France. Yeah. Why not? Why not? Let's seize it, grasp it, promote it, embrace it. The Lionesses did it in the summer.
Yeah, they did.
The Union girls are flying out in their World Cup over in New Zealand.
They are.
So why can't the Rugby League ladies follow suit? Absolutely.
I just want to get to a world, and I feel like we should already be there, and it's quite sad. It's very, very sad that we aren't there, in a world where you're watching telly, you're watching sport, and be it a woman on the panel of pundits, be it a woman commentating, or be it a woman refereeing, or any all include, where people aren't saying, "Ooh, this is the first woman referee."
Yeah.
I want it to be just this is the referee. This is the analysis. This is the commentator, where we almost just forget, or the people who need to forget, it doesn't matter what gender they are. They're the most qualified person, or they are a qualified person to do that job. We need to get there. We're slowly but surely, finally seeing more of this inclusion. We just need to hit the turbo and be like, right, we're here now. It's not unique anymore. It's just, this is the referee. This is, what I mean? Like, we need to get to that point.
That woman who commentates, who's been commentating at World Cup, is it Sharon? I can't remember her surname, which is really bad. But she's.
I know what you mean. Yeah, she's been brilliant.
Class. She's been up there with Vossi for me as the.
She's been so good.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, when you listen to her, she's. I know Vossi goes off on a tangent sometimes, but she commentates and does it brilliantly. And it's just like she's 10 times. No,
Sharon Shortle.
That's it. She's 10 times better than some of the Sky people. I mean, without sounding harsh, they don't say much to do, but she's class. And it just proves It's not a man's game. It is literally anybody. It's an inclusive sport for everybody.
I obviously watched England Greece yesterday, and it was Tanya Arnold anchoring, presenting, and I said it last week when all of her coverage has been brilliant. I'm going to say it now. Tanya Arnold is miles better than Mark Chapman. She is.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Okay.
I swear. She is miles better. Miles better.
I'll tell you who's been doing well this season, and all really emerged is Danica Prim on Channel 4 coverage.
She's brilliant.
And Ellen Skelton. You see Lois Forsell on the Super League and all, and Kelsey Gentles. Like you say, let's get them on. Yeah. Let's embrace them. It's rugby league. It's what it's all about. But yeah, I agree with you about Tanya Arnold.
She's the best.
If you get Claire Balding and all, she's outstanding. When she does Challenge Cup, she's brilliant.
I was surprised because Claire Balding's worked on Channel 4 quite a bit, and when they got the Super League coverage, on a bit of a tangent again, but still women in leagues, big for us. She didn't pop up on Channel 4. You know, I thought she was gonna get a bit of a gig there.
Yeah, I mean, she does have a lot of commitments in horse racing and athletics. She's really big on that as well. But yeah, I'd love to see her in commentary box again. Absolutely.
Wouldn't it be good? The biggest thing though is Mark Chapman's a Scum fan, so I'm never ever going to like him, am I? So he's got like him.
You see,
well, I mean,
you can't. Yeah. You're right.
But Tanya Arnold, honestly, she is of all the anchors that have kind of anchored at this World Cup, she just, as soon as she's on, I just think she just hosts it and pulls it together better than any of the rest. So more Tanya Arnold, please. Sticking with Women's Rugby League, why not? Mark kind of touched on it a couple of minutes ago. We had some unexpected news today as we record this, coming out of Leeds. The white smoke was lit and everyone was like, whoa, what's this? Leeds Rhinos announced today that they're going to pay their women's side to play rugby league for them. Groundbreaking news. As I said earlier, Mark, you are kind of our Lot 17A women's rugby league correspondent. Want a better word? You wrote a great article. You wrote a great article in our Lot 17A fanzine, banging the drum for the women's game. I can't remember if I approached you about writing or you approached me, but however which way that happened, you kind of said, I know exactly what I'm writing about. I'm writing about the women's side. And I just kind of said, go for it. And you wrote a brilliant article. So I think you're the best person to kind of go to first, if you don't mind, Loz. Incredible news coming out from the Rhinos today. The first team in Super League, in Rugby League in this country to announce a deal like this.
Yeah, and I'm so proud of the club for doing so, for leading the way.
Bursting with pride today.
So proud. But I'm also chuffed for them ladies that put it on the line, that leave work early, take unpaid leave to get to games, to wear that shirt. Yeah. Because ever since I actually found it by accident going to one of our games early and they had the women on. And since then, they started showing it on, on the apps online and then on BBC, the Challenge Cup and everything. So they've been absolutely outstanding, and it's a long time coming. But it's here now, and they deserve every penny they get and more. And I'm so sure, hopefully now the Super League can grow as a competition. And we've got some big clubs in there. St Helens, Wigan, Huddersfield, York have done a great job putting the team together, by the way.
Brilliant.
But they won their Leaders' Shield, and we only just beat them in grand final. So it's not just a 2-horse race or a 1-horse race. It's very, very competitive. And yeah, absolutely. They deserve it. They deserve every penny they get. And hopefully it'll grow from there now.
Yeah. Laurie, bursting with pride with that news earlier.
Yeah, it's really funny, actually. I was talking to my dad about this and earlier on. And I said to him, it was very simple. 10 years ago, the club had our academy, and that was it, the first team. You look at what we've got now, You've got wheelchair team, women's team, PDRL team, and you just think to yourself, this club has made so many ground steps in the last 10 years to be the club who's welcomes everyone, and that makes me feel proud.
And all the teams are really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, before the New Zealand game, they had all the teams lined up on the pitch, and it went across the pitch. That's how many people there are, and
full inclusivity.
Like
Netball side as well,
yeah. 10 years ago, we didn't have this, and without sounding daft, I think it shows how much can be achieved in 10 years. And I just wish other teams would approach that with the same thing, and then the game might be better.
Well, I think Mark makes a really, really good point, as he always does, as you do as well, Loz. It's like the league now. I'm so, and I genuinely mean this. I'm so proud of the club again. Honestly, I am. I'm really, really overwhelmed that Leeds were the first club to kind of do this and put this in place, and it kind of now says to the other bigger sides, like Mark says, Wigan Saints, etc., to kind of look at it and go, right, Leeds are doing this now. Maybe we need to kind of follow in their footsteps and kind of pay our women, and then it becomes more attractive because there could be women, ladies, girls who maybe did have an opportunity, but will kind of looked at their own circumstance, like Mark says, taking holiday off, losing a day's pay possibly, and kind of been like, I've got a mortgage to pay here. Yeah. Could have mouths to feed, could have children or dependents, and they could look at it like that and think, as much as I love rugby league and I'd love to play for this club or whoever it is, I can't because I've got too much in terms of my job security and things. So I'm hoping now that could release the shackles on that. If it's happening, it might be. Maybe I'm reading a bit too much into it, but if that's happening, then I hope now they can kind of look at it and say, right, now that there's some financial gain to it, I can realize my dreams.
Well, here's another point. Why shouldn't they get paid? That's it. They should be getting paid. It's the most ludicrous thing ever to think that in 2022, I know it's no offense to, I'm not having to go at Leeds here, but isn't it? We're actually celebrating women get paid for playing our sport. This should be happening. It should be. And don't get me wrong, it is great news, but this should be the architect and
the norm.
Yeah. It shouldn't be amateur or whatever. It should be full on.
Full pay. Yeah. Excellent. That's the World Cup lot for this week. We'll be back next Sunday live on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook from around 7 o'clock to review the quarterfinals. Do follow us on Twitter at Loiner's View, at Lot17A. Give us a like. Sorry, give us a... I have to read this out. Where is it? I've been told I have to read this out now. Follow us on Twitter and all the socials. Subscribe to us, please subscribe to us on YouTube. For anyone that doesn't know, we are now recording this live on Twitter, on YouTube, on Twitch. We just go out live, grab the recording, and then we upload it to Spotify and iTunes and Google, etc. But we do need more subscribers on YouTube, so please go onto YouTube, search the Lot Pod, hit subscribe, and that'll do us all a great big favour. Right, that's the podcast for this week. We'll see you next week for the World Cup quarterfinals. Thanks a lot for listening. Thank you very much to 2 Lot Pod regulars. They always do great work. Laurie and Mark, thanks a lot, gentlemen, for coming on with me tonight.
Cheers, mate. No problem. It's always a pleasure.
Care.
You all too, lads. Enjoy your rugby league. Stay safe, and good luck next week with your pod.
See you next time.